Hey guys, I'm back with another video. This one is going to be on a discontinued model from, unfortunately, now a defunct company, Schrade, USA. Now, Schrade is still in business, but it's made in China. So that's a real shame because this was one of the pioneer American knife companies. Started in 2004, started in 1904, closed in 2004. 100 years. Uh, it's just a shame because they had so much potential, and I think they could have. I don't know. I think they could have went on for another 50 plus years, in my opinion, and kept going stronger. I mean, they started out making slip joints and other fixed blades and hunting knives, different things like that over the years. And then they went into models like you will see here in a moment. More modern materials. Not really the steel. The steel was never modernized from what I saw, but uh, nonetheless, I want to share this with you. So, before I get into it, you know, there are so many little nitpicky things that I go over and over in my head about concerning knives. I'm sure I'm not the only one. And the more I fondle this knife, the more I handle this knife, the more I the more I realize that it does so many of those things right. So it doesn't have the problems that I'm normally observing on other knives. And I want to just discuss it with you today. So, this is the Schrade Viper, the original box. Schrade Tough, Imperial Schrade Corp, 7 Schrade Court, Ellenville, New York. You can see through that sticker, made in USA, but the package is printed in China. Figures. What else was I? Was there something? Oh, Viper model number. Okay. So let's break into it. First, anything in there? Not that I see. So this has a E-coat finish, and it says on the blade, pocket clip, and hardware, and is not guaranteed, and may chip over time. Interesting. Not sure what E-coat is, but it's definitely something that will not hold up like DLC. But maybe this was the norm back then. So here's the packing material. It's just, it's amazing because, like I said, this is just a staple of the American knife companies. Excuse me. Yes. Just a lot of tradition. Personal message from Walter Gardner, president of Imperial Schrade Corporation. If you don't know, Imperial Knives, Imperial Schrade is made in Ireland. And this just kind of explains a little bit about the company. Limited lifetime warranty. I'm going to read over this. Okay, I'll show you the back. Oop. Okay. It's interesting that it goes into detail about how to sharpen your knife at the correct angle. Look at that, 10 to 15 degree angle. And that's one of the things I want to talk about in regards to this. So, this blade is actually made of a high carbon stainless steel. It's identified by the Schrade Plus stamp on the blade. So, For that, never throw your knife. Hammer on your knife. Use your knife as a screwdriver, chisel. Use a power-driven grinding belt to sharpen your knife. This can ruin the hardness of the blade. Look at that, guys. That's incredible. Expose. That's the extreme heat or fire, clean knives, and corrosive substances. They knew a lot about knives, guys. And where do you see this? That, honestly, that sentence or that little bullet point amazes me. So never use a power-driven grinding wheel to sharpen your knife. This could ruin the hardness of the blade. They were talking about this back then, in the 90s, early 2000s, before this went out of business. Where do you see companies talking about that? No, they insist that it doesn't ruin the hardness of your blade. Well, here's a company that was in business for 100 years, and they knew what they were doing. So, here's the knife. Now, you can't middle finger flick this, guys. Doesn't have a flipper. All right. There's no thumb stud. Has a hole opener. I'll show you in a moment. But it's not, your typical knife that most people gravitate toward. But I don't know. There's just something about it that there's many things about it that have really grasped my attention, and I think it's quite a stellar piece, actually, for the money, for sure. I don't know how much these went for regularly. I bought this aftermarket for $40, but brand new, never been used. I just fondled it a lot, and I can just say that the eco finish, yes, it does seem to chip, because even after opening, that is the one thing I noticed. I think, like, when opening, it seems to rub just ever so slightly against the liner over here. I don't know if you can hear it, but it has... actually has... Hold on. Let's see if you can listen. Well, let's just open the knife for the first time. Well, didn't rub there. Maybe I was mistaken. So... 4x4 Schrade Plus USA. So high carbon stainless steel. This is a liner lock. Now, yes, the liner, look at that. It's way all the way over to the right hand side. It's like at 100% lockup. Okay. But I'm going to just go over some of the really cool features about this knife. Okay. If you want to see how big this is, or excuse me, what the size is in comparison. Spyderco Delica. Oop. Just measure those as evenly as I can. So the Delica is about a 7 1/4 inch blade, or excuse me, 7 1/4 inches overall. About a 2.8 inch blade. I was trying to do some research on this Schrade, and maybe there's archives out there about him, but it was not easy trying to find something. I didn't spend a ton of time looking, but I looked a little bit, and I couldn't find really anything. So every time I searched for a Schrade Viper, the listings that would show up would be ones for their new Schrade Viper OTF, which is made in China. Anyway, so that's the blade size, as you can see in comparison. So let's talk about what this knife does wrong. All right. Well, when they sharpened it, they sharpened it all the way back to the plunge. It's kind of goofy, but it's kind of goofy on both sides evenly. So they actually know what they're doing in regards to sharpening. They did a good job there, and I'll show you that in a minute. Lockup, yeah, that's kind of unfortunate, but it is what it is. But the lockup, and I've tested this. This thing is pretty solid, There's a little play, but not terrible. And really, for a $40 knife made Maybe it did rub a little bit here. You can see that where. So it's rubbing a little. That's the downside, because when you're opening this, you can't middle finger flick it. Obviously, it's not accessible on that side. If it was, you might be able to. You probably would be able to. Well, actually, with the liner, probably not. But anyway, sorry to get sidetracked. You just have to put your thumb in the hole, push down, and as you're pushing down, it pushes the blade against the liner. I don't know if you can see that on the inside, if that's coming okay, coming through all right. And then, open the blade. But okay, so it rubs against the liner a little when opening. Look at that. Phosphor bronze washers. Pretty impressive for such a cheap knife. And that's some of the things that this blade just does. This knife just does extremely well. Okay. What are some of the other cons? Like I said, the lockup, it's solid. It's got some blade wiggle. It's got some rock, but nothing that I would say would not be on other knives of this caliber back then as well. I don't think companies placed as much emphasis overall as they do today about that type of thing. Maybe I'm wrong. But anyway, so I'm not quite sure what this material is. The blade scale, oh my goodness, the handle scales. If I had to venture a guess, it's some type of, treading, like you would, like a grate, in a warehouse or something like that. But it feels great. It really does. It's very cool. I think that's so neat that they went with this type of machining and finishing. So it might be, it's not too heavy though. I don't have a weigh scale, but it's not too heavy. Maybe 3.5, 4 ounces, maybe 4.5. I don't think it's that heavy. It's probably like closer to 3.5, 4 ounces. Based on like a 940, which is around 3 ounces, right? Yeah, I'd say this is like 3.5, 4 ounces at max, but good weight, solid. All right, so let's talk about, I think, like I said, the cons were the rubbing of the blade, the when opening, the rubbing of the blade when opening, the lockup is not perfectly solid, but it's good, and the fact that the eco finish chips, when in use, when in your pocket, whatever. But the fit and finish is not bad, guys. It's really not. And unless I missed anything, those are really the cons. Let's talk about the pros. Okay. Number one, listen to the sound of this opening, this locking. Just has a really great opening sound, in my opinion. All right, that's number one. So it's got a great lockup sound. It really does. Blade shape is fantastic. It's got a beautiful slim blade, drop point, right? And guys, one of the greatest things about this knife, it comes to a super thin edge. How did they do this? Schrade. You didn't see, I'm sorry, and I love Spyderco. But the grind behind these edges is definitely thinner than even your typical Spyderco. It is. I would say this is, under 20 thousandths, maybe 17, maybe less. It's pretty thin, man. I don't have calipers, but you can just kind of feel, and it just comes down to like a hollow, it's like a hollow grind, and it comes to a pretty keen edge. No, it's not 10 thousandths from what I can tell, but If I had to guess, I'd say maybe 15, 17 thousandths. That's pretty good. Blade of this caliber, this cheap. All right, that's a really amazing pro. Excuse me, that's a really amazing pro as well. Next is, look at the handle and the blade. How it just flows. It's almost like trying to picture this not as a knife, but if this was like, I don't know, the shape of a, I want to say a pen, but that's wrong. But like just the way that it starts off narrow and then it gradually increases to a certain thickness and then it slowly tapers back down to that point, the blade. It matches so evenly. And you know what, guys? It's so comfortable in hand even when bearing down. Like, great ergonomics. The only thing that I would say would pose a problem or that might cause an issue, depending on how you hold it, the lock bar, that is a pro. Excuse me, not the lock bar. The liner lock could dig into your finger, depending on if you're holding it like this. But like if you're just holding it, oh, how did I just have it earlier? I was just like so. It wasn't digging into my hand. I could feel it a little bit there. But, I mean, there's no hot spots, really, if you hold it the right way. And most of the time, I would say you do. I mean, would I like if this was designed a little differently? Sure. But it's really not that bad. It's quite good. You put it in hand, and I could see myself, and I'm bearing down on this. Most people won't bear down on their knives like this unless they're under hard use, maybe in carving or what have you. Great ergonomics. Simple design. You know why? Straight, clean. Yes, it tapers, but it's not straight. Obviously, it's ever so slight curve. But my point is, it's neutral, right? Guys, it's a very beautifully neutral handle. One of the things I do love about the Sebenza, right, is the neutral handle. It just works. It's simple and it works, and there's no hot spots. That's how this is. The traction. You know, is it slick? Well, with these grooves, no, not grooves, more like machining, the great texture, actually feels all right. Like you could definitely get some grip out of this. It's not going to slip if you're holding it in hand. You know, it's just not. So it's got that going for it. The pivot, beautifully sunk into the handle scale. It's not popping out. Look at that. Captive, very nice. Pocket clip, decent retention. Never really put it in the pocket to try it out, but it works well. It doesn't really provide a hot spot. Is this edge? It could be sharp. Could be sharp there too. Yeah, a little bit. That's probably that's definitely a con. A little sharp on the edges, but you really don't feel it. Like when you're holding it, bearing down, it goes into the palm of your hand because it's slim and out of the way. And you know, it actually, man, that thing is secure though. Like it doesn't really, I can get it to move if I'm tugging at it, but it's not bad at all. It's really not. They designed this so well, like the pocket clip. Look how it's basically flush with the handle. Really well done. Really is. And I don't know if it's just me, but it's just for a cheap, I don't mean cheap quality. It's good quality. It's a good value. It's a good budget, right? For what this knife cost and for them to make it, exceptionally well done. For the price. If this was $300, no, of course not. We'd have some issues. But for $40, it might have even cost less than that back then. You know? Incredible. Now, flow through construction, as you guys do love, right? It's got 2 pivot points. Pivot, Barrel spacer. Flow through construction. Another thing, there are no sharp edges. Like, these edges are knocked down exceptionally well on the inside of the handle scales. Fantastic. Are there any sharp edges here where the transition curves? Nope. Not whatsoever. Absolutely excellent. Sharp edges on the back end? Nope. The only sharp edge is the edge itself and the point. Thickness? Decent, but it comes to a nice keen tip. Acute. Yeah, look at that. Like I said, guys, thin behind the edge. And it's pretty sharp, you know. I mean, it's not a, you know, it's not, trying to think of a good sharp blade out of the factory. Yeah, Spyderco, but I mean, trying to think of something else, more of like a sharp custom knife that was like, anyway, not trying to ramble. It's very good. Oh yeah, the blade grind was kind of a downcline or a detractor, but yeah, and you can see a little chip on the inside of the hole here. But it's not sharp. The hole is not sharp. It works well. You know, easy to open, easy to close. It functions well. Detent. Can't shake this open. Great feature. I was trying to see if I could get my finger in here, and I can kind of, but I really can't cut myself, and I'm pushing down, guys. So that's a really nice benefit too. I can't even get my finger in here to touch the blade to nick myself. That's another thing that bothers me. If I can do that with a knife now, I know people are not digging their fingers into to see if they can cut themselves, but maybe some of them are. I just like to see that because that's like I said, a nitpick of mine. And check this out for $40, guys. What? Perfect blade centering? No. Yes. Yes. That's incredible. Yeah. Huh. Who would have thought? So, man, guys, I'm telling you, like, there are just so many little features about this knife that are so good. So good. Ugh, listen to that sound, man. Listen to that sound. Just works so well. And I don't know, just the simple, clean design. I mean, does it look a little, with the tread pattern, like of a metal grate, does it look gaudy? Does it look cheesy? Maybe. But I mean, picture this in all titanium, satin, or stonewash blade, satin or stonewash pocket clip. Like, guys, this is just, I don't know, maybe it's just me. And I've never carried it. I've only just fondled it. But the more that I fondle it, man, the more that I am impressed. I just am. It just works well. Yeah, if I had to guess, if I didn't say what this material is, I would say maybe a type of aluminum. Excuse me. That's how you know the day is about to come to an end and you're tired. Yes, I am. Phosphor bronze washers? What? Kidding? Like, guys, for the price, all the things that I just mentioned, it works so well. It just does. Just for fun, I want to see how this is in the pocket. It's going to be hard. Sweatpants on. Yeah, works all right. I mean, the pocket clip could have a little better retention, but for what it is, I wouldn't say it's much different than even the Delica, even. Maybe the Delica's a tad stronger, but not bad. Guys, this blade just works, or this knife just, there's so many features about it that I just told you. Oh, the Schrade Plus, as I said earlier, it's their high carbon stainless steel, so probably something like a 1095, maybe a D2. It's possible. I don't know. To my knowledge, they never really labeled their blade steels, not like now, these days. But given their history, I know they've worked with a few different types blade steel, and from what I understand, I have a friend who's a really big Schrade fan and very well versed in them. You know, I believe it was him. I think it was him. Maybe it was someone else. I'm sorry if my memory's a little foggy, but was telling me that the heat treatment on these are very good for what they are. I don't know, guys. Like, just for a very simple. I'm not trying to ramble. I know this video is going on 27 minutes, but man, oh man, like there's just for such a cheap knife, I didn't think I would like it so much, you know. But it just works. I don't know, just that very simple, clean design. It just works. I wish more knives were like this, and what I mean is I wish more knives were made without all of the choils and the handle grooves and everything like that. And don't get me wrong, I think there's a place for that, but the simplicity of this is beautiful. You've heard of the term KISS, keep it simple, stupid? Well, this exemplifies that, in my opinion. You know, yeah, it just works. The 4x4, I think it was some type of, I mean, you guys have probably seen this before, but I think that was some type of collaboration they had. I'm not sure. And I think this pattern on the handle scale was something they did exclusively. I don't know. They weren't really, I mean, I was young when they went out of business, and I was into knives, but not to the extent that I am now. You know, when you're younger, there are memories there, but there's certain things. Look at that blade centering, man. Perfect. Unbelievable for the price. You can't get that on some $200 and $300 knives sometimes. They're off center. It's ridiculous. I've seen it. Anyway, even $100 knives. But, oh, sorry. That's what I was saying. I don't think they really advertise a lot of the exclusivity. Maybe they did, and I'm just not remembering because I was much younger. But, yeah, what else? I mean, there's really not a lot to dislike about this knife. Overall, I don't think so. And it's funny because I know on my other video that I recorded, I was talking about selling it. I probably am, but I don't know. I think I might miss it if I did. And it's really not like I'm going to make a huge profit on it. I could hold on to it. It's more the nostalgia and the history of a company that made high quality knives at a reasonable blue collar price for the average American. And that's what they were known for, guys. Good quality knives that will work and function and hold up, stand the test of time. It wouldn't cost you an arm and a leg. So anyway, yeah, just the way the handle and the blade mold together, it's in perfect unison. I mean, that's the other thing. Like, the fact that When it's open, it's in unison, right? Yeah. And then when it's closed, the blade perfectly fits into the handle. You know? It doesn't protrude. It's flush. It's even with the handle scale. You know? Well, as even as it could be. I mean, you could say there's maybe a... I don't even know. I don't have... No, but that just... Maybe that was... Yeah, it's probably even by the design that they intended it for it to... Ever so slightly. Like the thickness of a sheet of paper. Stand up above the handle scale. Anyway, sits perfectly flush though. Just works. And I'm not a big fan of lanyards, but that's fine. You know, doesn't bother me. Anyway, guys, I think that's it. I wish I knew what blade steel this was so I could tell you. Actually, high carbon stainless steel. I don't know if D2 would technically... No, that's like a semi-stainless, but who knows how they labeled it back then. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's everything. I know it sounds silly because I could always try and update you with additional information about the knife if I come across it and find it. But you know, it's, like I said, difficult to find. So, you know, Smoky Mountain Knife Works. Oh, sorry, that's one last thing I'll say. Smoky Mountain Knife Works used to have a lot of their old stock, old new stock, and sorry, the glare from the light was bouncing off of the handle scale, and it was quite bright. Oh, so anyway, Smoky Mountain Knife Works used to have a lot of their new old stock, and I remember buying from them at the time, and I had a they had a like a little article going into the deep, rich history of Schrade, and I held on to it, and I don't know what happened, but I think I accidentally threw it away, and I was quite disappointed. I really don't remember how it happened, but like I said, big piece of American history. It was quite impressive to see. Maybe, I mean, I know I could probably Google it or talk to my friend, like I said, but there was this really cool article that Smoky Mountain, I think it was Smoky Mountain that developed it, and it was just neat, and they sold it with their knives that you bought from them. Pretty cool. But anyway, I think that's the end of my rambling. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. And maybe it's given you some insight into looking at an older knife or a discontinued knife and saying, wow, this is actually a lot more exceptional or a lot better than I give it credit for. You know? I mean, is it a Todd Rexford? No. No. You know, of course not. Is it a Shiro? No, it's not. But for what it is, yeah, it's pretty darn good. It really is. So that's all, guys. See you on the next one.